So we're going to talk about negative exponents, and the important thing to remember is something like this. 3 to the negative second does not mean negative 6, does not mean negative 9, it doesn't mean 3 times negative 3, it doesn't mean negative 3 times negative 3, it doesn't mean 3 times negative 2. None of that, okay? What it does mean is, on the next page, 3 to the negative second would actually be 1 over 3 to the second, which is 1 over 9. Now I'm going to show you why. If I had 3 to the first power, that's 3. If I had 3 to the second power, that's 3 times 3, which is 9. If I had 3 to the third power, that's 3 times 3, which is 9, times 3, which is 27. Okay, now follow me on this. As I go moving up, if I added one exponent, what did I do over here? On the right, I said times 3. If I moved up again by adding just one exponent, what did I do from this number to this number? I said times 3, correct? Okay, now let's do that backwards because you follow the pattern there. Let's say I'm starting from the top and working my way down. If I start from the top and work my way down, as I go from 3 to the third to 3 to the second, I subtracted one exponent. As I went from 27 to 9, I divided by 3. If I go from 3 to the second to 3 to the first, I subtracted an exponent. And if I go from 9 to 3, I divided by 3 again. Okay, so now I'm going to go to 3 to the 0, and I'm going to give you 3 to the negative 1 and 3 to the negative 2. Okay? Now, following my pattern, I would say that from 3 to the first to 3 to the 0, what did I do? I subtracted an exponent. From 3 to my next number, what did I do for each of these? I divided by 3. So I have to divide by 3 again because that's my pattern. Every time I subtracted the one exponent, I divided by 3. So up here, if I had the number 3 and I divide by 3, what's 3 divided by 3? 1, which means that anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, keep moving on. I had 3 to the 0, now I'm going 3 to the negative 1. 3 to the negative 1, what did I do for those exponents? I still subtracted one exponent. Now, following my pattern of dividing by 3, if I start with this one and I go down again, I have to do what? I have to divide by 3 because that's been my pattern. Every time I subtract an exponent, I have to divide by 3. So if I come here and I say, what's 1 divided by 3? Well, 1 divided by 3, I'm not going to go ahead and give you as a decimal. I'm going to write it as a fraction, is what? 1/3. Seeing the pattern yet? Now, let's do it again. I'm going to go from negative 1 to negative 2. That's still subtracting an exponent. And because I've been subtracting an exponent, every time I do that, I divide by 3. Okay, if I have 1/3, and I'm going to divide by 3, 1/3 divided by 3 is 1/9. So what I'm saying is that negative exponents do not mean that the number is negative. If you have a positive base with a negative exponent, it's just a fraction of that number. You just keep dividing it away, and you're not making it actually a negative number. 1/9 is not negative. I could keep going on and on, like I could go 3 to the negative third, which would be 1 over 27, which would be 1/27, and so on and so forth would be the pattern. So you're saying, why does that matter? When am I going to use this? Well, let's say I go and I have 5 to the 6th over 5 to the 8th. If you recall from our previous video where we talked about what you do whenever you're dividing with exponents, you did what? You should say we subtracted. Okay, so if I were to subtract, I would say minus 8 and minus 8, correct? That would take this away and leave me with 5 to the negative 2 over 1 if I subtracted 8 from both sides, correct? But let's say I said no negative exponents. Okay, let's rewrite this problem. I have 5 to the 6th divided by 5 to the 8th. Okay, again, now if I say no negative exponents, I'm going to say subtract 6, subtract 6. That's going to give me 5, and then this is gone now, just like what I did here. It's 1. 8 minus 6 is 2, so I have 5 to the 2nd. Follow what I did there, and the pattern makes sense, right? If I did this, 8 minus 8, that leaves me with 1, because that's like saying all 8 of those 5s are being taken away. And I'm taking them away from the top, from the numerator, 6 minus 8, which gives me negative 2. So if you kind of follow the pattern and the logic, it'll make sense.